Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to the third episode of the very first Mixing a Subscriber's Music tutorial. Let me play this song for you just to know, just so you guys know what we're trying to work with. Here we go. that's the song for you guys. And what I want you to take a look is, by the way, I haven't been able to mention to you guys, but I have changed my volume staging. I think I've changed the bass. It's now at negative 3.1 decibels. And for my let's see, I also added a chorus here for the bass. All right, its delay settings is at 15 ms, and its depth is at 2.6 ms. All right, and I also moved the cross cutoff frequency. It's now at 8 hertz, so that it'll have a chorus on basically on all of its notes. Well, it's not every frequency, but at least the majority of it. All right, and also, since this is a bass guitar, I've also set the stereo, all right, to 0 degrees, so that it's just gonna be mono, but it's still gonna have that chorus effect. In fact, let me show you a snippet of it and how it sounds like, just the bass. All right, just the bass. Here we go. All right, without the chorus. Alright, it's very subtle, but it adds up to the whole mix. Alright, and I believe it's the guitar. I've also added this boost right here. I moved token 6 to 3K at 3.5 decibels, Q factor of 0.9. Alright, and number 4, I've also set it to 4K, added 2 decibels of gain, and the Q factor is at 1. All right, that's all the changes that I've made. And wait, actually, yeah, I've added 4 decibels of gain. If I'm not mistaken, I also cranked this one up. So if I haven't mentioned this on the last video, and here it is, and if I did, there you have it. All right, moving on. What is next? What else? With the vocals, did I do anything with the vocal? No, I didn't do anything with the vocals. You guys can just check out the settings over here. I don't want this video to be too long, so we're gonna keep this moving. All right. The first, actually, Vox 2. All right. I've gone ahead and gave it a picture just to make sure that this would stay in tune. All right. I think I did that on every single vocals here. Yeah, I did. And then now, for the sake of the length of this video to be a little bit shorter than the others, we're gonna move on at 11,561 hertz at the Q factor of 0.9. I actually subtracted 2 decibels of gain, and I've also given it a range of negative 18 decibels with the threshold set at negative 12. All right, and fastest attack, fastest release. The reason for these settings right here, for these 4 knobs, if you're gonna pay attention, is to attenuate every single sibilance that I have for this vocal. All right, and I've also gone ahead and the reason for this settings, by the way, on the static EQ, is to kind of attenuate a little bit of that high end, that, especially with the rasp of the voice. All right, which is kind of I would say it sounds like pre-mixed, but the reason for this is because, as our going back to our reference, which I believe is Rooster from Alice in Chains, it kind of has if you compare this vocal to the vocals from Alice in Chains, this one's a little bit on the bright side. All right, and that's why we had that cut. All right, moving on. All right, standard compression settings. As you may have already known, that I'm doing 4 decibels of compression maximum on each compressor, and in this case, since it's a vocal, it's going to be expected that I'm going to be using more than 4 decibels of gain reduction. And let's go ahead with the settings. Makeup gain is at 4 decibels. The threshold is at negative 14 decibels. All right, and the ratio is at 20:1. Fastest attack, 100 ms release. All right. If you want to see it in action, what this compressor does, let's take a look at it over here, and let's solo this vocal right here. Just look at what this compressor is doing.
Now that you're here, never gonna let you go. Watching for changes, you're gonna be the first to know.
Alright, that's what it's doing. So I've gone ahead and got 3 stacks of it. In total, it's doing 12 decibels of compression. Alright, if you're gonna be the one who's gonna be mixing this, the goal is for you to get 4 decibels maximum of compression on each compressor. Alright, from now on I'm gonna do it this way, just so I would have this video to be a little bit shorter. Alright, moving on, let's go to the chorus. Pre-delay is at 15 ms and the depth is at 0.6 ms. Stereo, again, I gave it 0 degrees on the stereo, so it will sound mono. And the other settings that I've messed with is just the cross cutoff frequency. I've set it to 20 hertz. Alright, the reason for this chorus is so that this vocal will sound like it has been doubled. Alright, hence where did I get that idea from the reference music. Alright, the reference track. Alright, I'm gonna show you a demonstration of it on how much this makes a difference. Alright, turn it off.
Watching for changes, you're gonna be the first to know.
Same phrase with the chorus on.
Watching for changes, you're gonna be the first to know.
Alright, just in case you didn't know, you can double your vocals or any other material with the use of chorus. Alright, there you have it. Moving on, what else did I have? I've also gone ahead and reduced this vocal to negative 0.3 decibels. Alright, just for balance purposes. Alright, moving on to the next vocal. Same thing, I got a picture here just to make sure that's in tune. And I've gone ahead and I've made this, I believe this is the second voice or the harmony. Alright, I've gone ahead and made it stereo. In fact, let's make sure it is.
Now that you're here.
Yeah, alright, it's the harmony. Alright, I've made sure that this is in stereo, highest cutoff frequency. I'm not cutting off any highs here or lows. Alright, smallest room size so that it won't be reverberating all around the quote-unquote room. And in this case, the room is actually dictated by this reverb plugin. No crossover frequency, no bass boost. Alright, lowest decay. Again, lowest decay so that you'll only have that stereo effect. And with the high damping is off. Dry signal, early reflections and wet signals to the maximum, well, at least 100%. Alright, and the stereo is at 0%. Alright, so that it will sound stereo. Alright, this is what it does without the plugin. Let's turn off the plugin.
Now that you're here, never gonna let you go.
In fact, without the reverb.
Now that you're here, never gonna let you go.
Alright, with the reverb.
Now that you're here, never gonna let you go.
Or I mean with the stereo, that's what it sounds like. Alright, and I've also, alright, moving on, I've also gone ahead and gotten a standard compressor which does 4 decibels of gain reduction. Hence the makeup gain would be 4 decibels as well. The threshold is at negative 11.7 decibels, and the highest ratio, which is 20:1. Fastest attack, 100 ms release time. Alright, let me show you what it does.
Now that you're here, never gonna let you go.
Alright, just a little bit of compression just to get rid of those peaks, and then it will also make your this vocal track, sorry about that, to be a little more compressed, which means it would have less dynamics, and therefore you'll be able to understand what role it's playing in the whole mix. Alright, so here you go. Moving on, what is this? Vox 4. Gone ahead and same story, got a picture, and I've just gone ahead and taken 2 compressors so that it will do a total of 8 decibels of gain reduction and gain compensation. All right, threshold, I think this is the first compressor's threshold is at negative 10 decibels. All right, and you already know the settings, as you can see over here. It's pretty much the same as our main vocals. All right, moving on. Also gone ahead and for the Vox 5, gone ahead and grabbed a reverb, same setting as the first harmony, and therefore it would sound like a stereo recording, in this case. And I've also gone ahead and grabbed actually 2 compressors. One of them is the first one is set at negative 11.2 decibels on the threshold, and each of them is doing 4 decibels of gain reduction and 4 decibels of makeup gain to flatten the dynamics. All right, moving on. After I've finished discussing all 4 of these, oops, didn't mean to move the mixer. After I've finished discussing all of these vocals, I'm going to show you how they sound like together. All right, first vocal, I've just actually Vox 1, I've only gone ahead and sorry about that, I've gone ahead and grabbed a reverb for the stereo separation, just to make it more stereo. All right, and I've also gone ahead and got a compressor that does 4 decibels of gain reduction and makeup gain. All right, you just have to find out where that is. If you don't know how to find out how to set your compressor, all you have to do, all right, in this case, and what I have done is, all I had to do was to go to my playlist and visually look for the loudest peak possible, and then I've gone ahead and let the music play on that portion. All right, let's see. In this case, on this vocal, I've gone ahead and set it over here. All right, and I believe it's right here. All right, and it's now doing 4 decibels of gain reduction and makeup gain. All right, I'll show you.
Now they are here, I'm never gonna let you go.
All right, as you can see right here, that's the amount that we have compressed over here. Okay, that's the amount. All right, 4 decibels. All right, that's the amount. And with this gain, that's the amount that we have put back, or we've set so that your overall dynamics of your music is more compressed. All right, moving on with an what is this? A vocal bit 5, 120 beats per minute, and I've only, I've gone ahead and grabbed a compressor. Sorry about that. And the threshold I find here is at negative 19.3. All right. The setting over here is so that it will be more flat, and you've guessed it. All right. It'll sound more flat when it comes to dynamics. All right. Moving on. Now we have our distortion plugin. All right. Mix is all the way to 100%. Post gain is at 71%. Threshold is all the way. Preamp, default setting. But in this case, with the distortion type, I've gone with the type B. All right. Look for it just to kind of show you what this is doing. All right, let's put it here. All right, without the distortion. All right, what the distortion did is it also helped with the compression, and it also added more harmonics, which in this case, the distortion also added a little bit more grit to it, and a little bit more harmonics to the high frequency spectrum. All right. All right. In the context of the mix, this is how it sounds like. Alright, that's how it sounds like. Okay, moving on with track 25. Yep, track 25. What I've gone ahead is, actually, let's go ahead and, you know, got a picture on it just to make sure that it stays in tune, nothing too fancy. Also gone ahead and made it so that it's stereo, and I've gone ahead and I believe this is doing 4 decibels. Yep, this is doing 4 decibels. Alright, had to adjust the ceiling so that the limiter is not gonna contribute with the compression, or in this case limiting. Alright, I've just gone ahead and grabbed 2 of these compressors, which will do 4 decibels of compression, as you may have already guessed. But if you want to know what the setting is, the setting on this top compressor, is at negative 4.5 decibels. All right. The reason for that is so that I would get the loudest peak to reduce it by 4 decibels, and then make it up by 4 decibels. All right. I did that on both compressors. Alright, with the last vocal right here, track 26. I forgot what this is doing. Okay, it's the telephone vocals. Alright, it's got a picture on it, and also 4 decibels of compression, and that's pretty much it. In fact, let me see if I can. Let me play to you how they sound like together.
Now that you're here, I'm never gonna let you go. Watching for changes, you're gonna be the first to know.
Alright, that's how it sounds like. All of them, by the way, all of these, by the way, are bussed up to this vocal track, or this, vocal bus. Sorry about that. And I've sent the reverb. What is this setting? 60%. Alright, 60% send. Alright, 60% of the signal of this vocal bus is going to the reverb plugin. Alright, I'm gonna show you the reverb plugin. Alright, the reverb plugin, it's got high. I'm not trying to cut off the highs here, so the high cut is off. But with the low cut, I got it set on 209 Hertz. The reason for this is because since the reverb is gonna be in stereo, I didn't want my low end to be in stereo. I want my low end to be in mono, because if you will look at home theater settings, they only have one subwoofer, and if you put it on stereo, that's gonna cause some phase issues. Alright, I didn't want to cause phase issues on my low end, so with the reverb setting, I've got it on pretty much, or with the reverb, I've pretty much cut off 209 Hertz and below. Alright, that's the reason for this setting. Alright, moving on. Room size, maximum room size, 100%. Alright, I want this whole setting to sound like you are on stage. It kind of sounds like you are in a concert, in a rock concert. Alright, diffusion, I didn't mess with any other settings on this panel. It's just the room size. Bass multiplier, all the way down. I don't see any point just boosting it. Alright, the crossover, and don't pay attention to this one, because with the crossover, whatever the setting here is, if you have this on 100%, it will be multiplied by 100%. Like these 2 knobs right here go hand in hand. Alright, why are airplanes flying? It's like 11 p.m. Alright, right now. Why are they flying? Sorry about that. Moving on, we have our decay setting on 1.2 seconds, and our high damping is at 10k. Alright, 10 kilohertz. Alright, setting is down to 0. Did I actually wait? I've already shown you guys the setting on this reverb, right? Anyway, sorry about that. Moving on. I'm sorry. Alright, moving on. Let's go to the snare. Alright, first snare. Alright, number 3. 358 hertz, Q factor of 1.6, and the gain is set to minus 3 decibels. Alright, the reason for this cut, I'm gonna show you how it sounds like. If I can get my drums to work, that is. Alright, I'm cutting a little bit of that. Alright, I'm cutting a little bit of that. The reason is because it's not really the root note of the snare. The root note, I believe, is this. Alright. Moving on. With our token number 5, I've also reduced 4,328 hertz at the Q factor of 1.2 and the gain, by minus 3 decibels. All right. Reason for this is just to kind of get rid of the, I didn't want it to be too bright in this area. Let me show you how it sounds like. The thing is, because it's not just the snare, it's also cymbals over here, So I wanted it to be a little bit more dark. Alright? Moving on to the next snare. Actually, oh, sorry about that. I forgot the send settings is at, I believe, 75%. There you have it. Alright? Reason why I'm moving it is just so I would see it over here in the hint panel, and it's 75%. Alright? To the reverb. What is this? Bus. Alright, moving on. With the snare, I've turned this into a main snare because I'm gonna be a little bit more honest here. Alright, this snare is not really recorded very well. I'm gonna be really honest with you, Brad. Okay, take a listen to it again. It's a little bit distorted, that's the thing, about this snare. Although with this mix right here, what we've gone ahead is we've turned that negative into something positive. All right, the thing is, what I did with that is, even if it's a little bit distorted, let's just assume that's your bottom mic snare. All right, let's just assume those are your snare wires. All right, let's just make it that way. Okay, moving on, I'm gonna show you how the main snare sounds like. Alright, in conjunction with the bottom snare. Alright, it sounds kind of a little bit of a bottom snare mic, although it not really. We just assume that that's the role that is going to do. Alright, in this particular mix. Alright, with the settings for this snare 2, alright, I've gone ahead and cut 3 decibels of 185 at the Q factor of 1. That's the root note of this snare, and I've gone ahead and cut it by negative 3 decibels. The reason is because the reference, doesn't have that much of this area right here. It's a little bit on the not really dark, but you'll know what I mean if you listen to the reference. All right, with this snare in conjunction with the whole mix. All right, and that's pretty much it. This is the root note. I've cut it by 3 decibels. Okay, same with here. It's almost the same story as this first snare right here, with this cut right here at 491 at the Q factor of 1.7 at 3 decibels. The reason is because I didn't want this particular note to be too loud, just so I would have a little bit more louder root note, so that it won't be, it won't have, to me it's unnecessary to have extra notes on the snare with this one here. Alright, I'm gonna show you in the context of the whole mix how it sounds like with this EQ and without this EQ. Alright, with 6, alright, token 6, It's at 8K, set to Q factor of 1 and 2 decibels of gain. All right, the reason is to make it a little bit more, having a little more attack on the high end over here. All right, a little bit more bright. All right, reason is so that you will have a snare that would have the attack, so that it's not gonna be buried under the majority of the mix. All right, let me show you how it sounds like without the EQ. All right, made it brighter a little bit. Okay, and now with this one here, I believe, yep, gain reduction here is 4 decibels. Okay, threshold is at -3. You know, highest ratio on this compressor, fastest attack, 100 ms release, and 4 decibels of makeup gain. The reason is because this snare, since this snare is gonna be bussed towards the drum bus, which if you can remember, we already have a compressor that has that 30 ms settings. All right, it's gonna pass through that, and then this drum bus right here is going to be sent towards the master bus, which has another one of this. All right, it's called serial compression. All right, the reason why I didn't make the attack time 30 ms to allow more transients is because I want it to be a little bit more consistent, but I'm not really gonna compress that much. I'm only gonna compress 4 decibels. All right, because the drum bus and the master bus is already giving the attack that this particular snare needs. All right, and also what the rest of the drum needs. All right, it's already been given by the drum bus and the master bus. All right, so that's why I've gone ahead and we did 4 decibels of gain reduction. All right, we didn't need to have it a little more transient because it already gets that transient boost from the drum bus and the master bus. All right, also gone ahead and picked a reverb after this limiter right here, highest high cutoff setting to off and low cut to off, and the room size is at 50%, bass multiplier at 100, and the crossover frequency in this case is 500 hertz. All right, and with the decay time, it's at 1.2. The damp setting is at 1.8 kilohertz. All right, maximum setting on the dry level and the early reflection and the wet. All right, stereo separation is at 0%. I mean, this channel is at mono anyways. The reason for this reverb plugin is so that snare will have a little bit more ring to it. I'm gonna show you how it sounds like without it. All right, with it's like you're dribbling a basketball. All right, and if you combine it with this reverb bus, it's gonna sound like this. Alright, it's almost like you're in a concert. That's pretty much it, And I mean, I forgot to mention the levels over here of the faders, so I need you guys to just look at it. And actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna say it after I've given you all of the settings over here on the drums. All right, moving on to the kick. We have our setting that is at 59 hertz. Token 1 is at 59 hertz. Q factor of 1, 6 decibels. That's the root note of the kick. Alright, I've gone ahead and boosted it by 6 decibels. And I've also gone ahead and grabbed 36 hertz, to be notched out at 24 decibels per octave by the high pass filter. Alright, just to clean it up. and to leave more headroom for this kick. All right, since I really don't want the kick to have that much 30 hertz and below, so we've gone ahead and grabbed this high pass filter, and with our token number 2, moving on, 115 hertz, 1.9 Q factor, and 3 decibels of gain reduction, or of cut. Sorry about that. And the reason is I didn't want this area right here, because on a kick, if your kick has a loud 115 hertz, it's not gonna sound as deep as we want it to be on this particular track. All right, so that's why we've gone ahead and cut 3 decibels of it over here. All right, moving on, cut of 3 decibels at 338 hertz, Q factor of 1. All right, just to clean it up a little more. All right, I didn't want this too much. In fact, let me solo it for you and show you how it sounds like, how this particular frequency sounds like. All right, I didn't want too much of that. With this one here, as you can see, there's this peak right here, and that's the reason for this cut. Okay, it's because of that peak. All right, that's what 115 sounds like on a kick. But this is what 59 hertz sounds like on a kick. Alright, so that's why I've gone ahead and gave it a boost. Alright, moving on, what's next? There it is, 8K. Q factor of 1, 6 decibels. Alright, this setting is so that your kick will have a little bit more, what is that, click to it. Alright, let me solo it for you. You're gonna hear the cymbals. It is what it is. Alright, I'm gonna be a little bit more honest to you, Brad. This is not the best recorded kick that I've ever got, but that's okay. Alright, we're learning. We're here to learn. I'm not here to knock you off, but I'm here to show you what needs to be fixed. Alright, so moving on. Although I'm not gonna say that I'm an expert in recording, sorry about that, but that's just my opinion from a mixer's perspective. Alright, moving on. 4 decibels, same as the snare, previous snare, except this time the setting is at negative 10.5 decibels. Alright, right here, doing 4 decibels of gain reduction. Alright, on the kick. Alright, just to have a little bit more consistency to it. So you may have already noticed, that's how I see compressors, is to add a little bit more consistency and to kind of change the tone to it. Alright, moving on. These two overheads right here, left and right, I don't see the difference of them being left and right. Alright, I just don't hear it. Alright, in fact, let me show you how it sounds like, when they're not panned to the extreme left or right. Alright, let me pan it extreme. Alright, it doesn't make a difference, I have an assumption that this track right here has been only duplicated. Alright, because the thing is, if these tracks weren't duplicated, if these two weren't duplicated, if you did this, panned one to the left, panned one to the right, it's gonna sound more stereo. Alright, but in this case it still sounds like it's mono, because it's just the same thing. Alright, that's what it is. Alright, I suggest you actually grab 2 mics on the recording face and put one on the left, put one on the right. It's up to you on where you want to put them, all right? Based on your drum setup. All right? That's what it is over here, okay? That's the reason why it still sounds mono even if we spread it around like that. Okay? That's pretty much it. So, moving on, we have these two overheads bust up right here. Okay? By the way, to solve this problem, I've gone ahead and grabbed that reverb over here so that I don't want my overheads to be on mono. So I've gone ahead and grabbed this setting right here. Alright, it's just so you could make it a little more stereo. You can use a different plugin as long as it makes it sound more stereo. Let me show you how it sounds like without it. Alright, that's how it sounds like. Let's put on the stereo. Alright, that's how I want to mix my overheads. I want my overheads to be spread out, okay? Alright, moving on. Now in the EQ side of things, alright, let me show you how it sounds like without an EQ. Alright? So you may have noticed it's a little bit too dark for an overhead mic. Your overhead mic should be bright, Brad. That's the reason why you have an overhead. The reason why you have these overheads is so that you can have, you know, you can have these kind of mics. What they do is they open up the whole drum kit. Period. It doesn't just record your cymbals, all right? Although that's what this does as well. It doesn't just record your cymbals, it also records your whole drum kit. Alright? And because of proximity, because it's overhead, it'll also help it to sound a little bit more consistent. Alright? Because the further your mic is from the source of what you're trying to record, it's gonna sound a little bit more consistent. Alright? In this case, your overheads should sound a little more consistent. And it should, with also proximity, it should also sound brighter. But I don't know why it's not brighter. You know, I wasn't there at the recording. In fact, this is how your overheads should sound like at the recording. Not like this. Alright, it's a little bit too dark. In fact, let me show you at the context of the mix, alright, without that EQ. Let's turn off that EQ, and then let's play it on the whole mix.
Watching for changes, you're gonna be the first to know.
With the EQ.
Watching for changes, you're gonna be the first to know.
Alright? The difference that it makes is that your overheads should be bright. You know, it should be one of the brightest recordings that you have on your drums, alright? Because your close mics will be dark. Well, kind of dark. It depends on what mic you're using and how you position your mics. And since the overheads are a little bit far away from are generally far away from the drums, they should sound more bright, you know, brighter. Alright? In fact, it's alright. We've gone ahead and done that on our EQ. I'm going to show you how it was set on the EQ. 140 hertz, alright, at 0.8. Q factor of 0.8. We've gone ahead and cut off 12 decibels, alright? And then on token number 3, at 425, we've gone ahead and cut off, well, actually we did with the range of, sorry about that, negative 18 decibels with a threshold of negative 11.2. Alright, fastest attack and fastest release Alright, let me show you what it sounds like. Alright, that's what it sounds like on an overhead. Alright, if you want to see it in action, here's how it looks like. Alright, we're attenuating that frequency because, again, like I said, this is an overhead mic. Alright, moving on. I don't know if I did something. No. Moving on token 5, we've also cut 9 decibels at the Q factor of 1.2 at 4,299. Alright, and the range of 18 decibels, negative 18. The threshold is at negative 18. Fastest attack and release. Let me show you how it sounds like, what we're cutting exactly on solo. Alright, let me show you without that. Alright, your cymbals are gonna start sounding dark, and that's why I did this cut right here. Okay, so you can see, look at that difference, alright, from the rest of the frequencies. You know what I'm saying? So at recording time, you should have a more balanced overheads, you know, to be more specific. Alright, and that's with your mic of choice and how you use your mics. Alright, how you position it, and you know how far you also put it up top the whole drum set. Alright, that's the reason, because this cut is so that our cymbals won't sound too dark. Okay, moving on at token number 6, we've gone ahead and boosted 1.6 decibels at the Q factor of 1.5, and it's set at 6,396 hertz. Alright, reason for that is to brighten up the overheads. Let me solo that for you, how it sounds like. Alright, compare it to this one. Alright, this one is significantly brighter than 4K, so that's why we've gone ahead and did this boost. Alright, and the range with the dynamic compression settings, it's at negative 18 decibels, and at the threshold of negative 15.4, fastest attack and release times. Alright, the reason for that cut is so that I won't have too loud on especially when the drummer is hitting the hi-hats. Alright, let me show you in action what it's doing. You'll see that it's going up and down on its own. Alright, that's what it's doing. Alright, because I've boosted 1.6, now I'm gonna control how much, you know, well, I'm gonna control the peaks, you know. Sorry about that. I'm at a loss for words, you know. Sorry about that. So that it's just so that I'll control the peaks, you know. This is the reason for this setting right here. Okay, moving on. Yeah, that's pretty much it, you know. That's pretty much. So Brad, that's how your overhead should sound like at recording. Alright, this is the goal. Alright, without it being distorted as well. So you might want to consider, instead of using a dynamic mic, maybe use a condenser mic. Alright, moving on, I've gone ahead and grabbed a compressor. Alright, which is set at negative 10.2 decibels. Alright, negative 10.2 decibels. Why? Because I want to compress a little bit of it by 2 decibels. Alright, highest ratio, fastest attack, 100 ms release, and with the gain is at 2 decibels. Alright, that's the reason for that. It's just to be a little bit more consistent. Alright, because these are overheads. Alright, I don't want it to have too much cymbals, and I also don't want to kill, you know, the loudest peaks on the drums, on the whole drum set. Alright, And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, going back to the settings over here. Vox 2 is at negative 5.5 decibels, and Vox 3 fader setting is at negative 6.8 decibels. Vox 4 is at negative 10.3. Vox 5 is at negative 9, and then the Vox 1 is at negative 8. All right. Vocal bit 05 is at negative 4. Track 25 is at negative 17, and track 26 is at negative 10. All right. First snare is at 1 decibel. Second snare is at negative 6. Your kick is at 2 decibels. First overhead, in this case, overhead left is at 1 decibel. Overhead right is at 3 decibels. All right. Those are the settings. All right, and the overhead, it's at 0 decibels, pretty much. All right, that is a lot of information, and that is a lot of time that we have consumed. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not going to be able to go towards the rest of the entire mix because of time constraints. I didn't want this video to be too long, but I can't really help it because I gotta give out all of the information out there for you guys to digest. All right, anyway, if you find this video interesting, press that like button, and if you don't like it, press that dislike button. And if you like this channel, press that subscribe and that bell notifications icon to be notified if a new video is up. All right, and if you know somebody who could benefit from these tutorials, all right, show them these videos. In fact, show them this video. And if you're interested in having your song mixed and to get it a little bit more publicity in this channel, as I gain more subscribers, please do so. Email me at crossoverproductions5@gmail.com. That's crossoverproductions5@gmail.com. All right, and that's pretty much it, folks. Thank you for tuning into the third episode of Mixing a Subscriber's Music Tutorial. All right, thank you very much. I love you all. God bless.